Parkinson's law says work expands to fill the time available for its completion. At its core, it means that if you give yourself 8 hours to complete a task that could realistically take 2 hours, guess what? You'll take the full 8 hours. You will procrastinate, overthink, or get distracted, stretching the task out unnecessarily. But when you impose tight, intentional deadlines, something magical happens. You get the same task done in less time, often with the same or better quality. Here's the catch, it's not just about work. Parkinson's law applies to every aspect of your life, whether it's about the chores to decision making, and even things like planning a whole vacation or your dream life. It's all about psychological pressure and the focus. When we have endless time to complete something, we subconsciously relax. Our brains think, why rush? There's plenty of time. This opens the door to procrastination, distractions, and perfectionism. But when we set shorter deadlines, we naturally focus. There's no room to scroll Instagram, recognize the tasks that were already done, reorganize your desk, or suddenly feel like you need a snack. Your brain goes into solving the problem mode and you become laser focused on what needs to get done right now. Think of it like cramming for an exam the night before. Somehow you manage to do in 3 hours what you couldn't do in a whole week or even the whole semester. That's Parkinson's law in action. Let me guess, you have told yourself this before. I'll do it later, or I'll finish it by the end of the week. But that later never comes. And the reason is simple. The more time you give yourself, the more you overestimate how much effort the task requires. For example, a simple chore like folding laundry can take 20 minutes, but if you give yourself the whole day, you'll avoid it for hours. Writing an email reply might take 10 minutes, but if you set no deadline, it could drag on for days. When time isn't structured, it's easy to let things expand unnecessarily. And then we wonder why we feel like we're always busy but not productive. How can you use Parkinson's law to your advantage? Now that you know the trap, here is how to flip the script and use Parkinson's law to get ahead. First is, of course, set deadlines that are very tight. Even if you think you have a lot of time, shrink it. If you think a task will take 2 hours, challenge yourself to finish it in 90 minutes. Not only will you work faster, but you will also eliminate time-wasting habits. For example, if you are researching for a vacation, don't say I'll do it this week. Instead, tell yourself I'll find a spot that works for me in the next 45 minutes. And you'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish under the shorter time frame. Divide your day into blocks and assign tasks specific start and end times. When the block end moves on to another, whether the task is done or not, this trains your brain to work within the time you set. If you have a free Saturday, don't just say I'll clean the house. Instead, block 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. for cleaning so that you know what you have to do in that perfect slot. Create fake urgency. If you struggle with procrastination, trick yourself into thinking you have less time than you actually do. Pretend there's a deadline right around the corner, even if it's self-imposed. For example, tell yourself I need to finish drafting my personal statement by noon today, even if your actual deadline is weeks away. That sense of urgency will get you moving. Fourth is the 2-minute rule. Combine Parkinson's law with the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes to do it immediately. This prevents small tasks from piling up and expanding into mental clutter. For example, reply to that email or text. That moment you read it instead of thinking I'll do it later, you'll clear up mental space to focus on bigger goals. The ripple effect is that you use Parkinson's law isn't just about saving time, it's about changing how you approach everything. Here's what happens when you start using it. By working with tighter deadlines, you finish tasks faster, leaving more time for things that truly matter. You build momentum. Productivity is contagious. The satisfaction of finishing one thing quickly will motivate you to tackle the next. You feel less overwhelmed. With structured time, your tasks feel manageable, not like an endless fountain of something that you are trying to control. A real life example. you want to apply to study abroad, and what you will be doing, let's say you're working on your fully funded scholarship application. It's easy to get overwhelmed and think, I'll research programs when I have time. But let's flip the approach. First is to break it down. Research 3 potential universities in 30 minutes. Draft a personal statement in 1 hour, even if it's messy. Edit that statement tomorrow in another 1 hour block. Number 2 is to set deadlines for milestones. Shortlist the programs by the end of the week. Finalize your application by a specific time. And third is to act before you are ready. Start writing, researching, and applying now. Don't wait until you feel fully prepared. The act of doing creates clarity, because if you drag the moment to I'll do it later, that later never comes, and you will be procrastinating, you will be rethinking, you will be researching for an endless loop that will never end. And I think when you give yourself an endless timeline, you will never get things done. Truly. Because you think that it's not the perfect thing that should be approached, that's not the perfect thing that you should be putting out. And you keep that draft in your hand for a lifetime. And I think most people regret all of the things that they haven't done on the deathbed, and there becomes a regret. People never regret things that they did. They always regret the things they didn't did. Parkinson's law isn't about rushing or cutting corners. It's about intention. It's about realizing that time is a resource, and when you use it wisely, you can actually accomplish more than you ever thought was possible.